G'day guys, welcome back to Roadside presented by Zwift. We're back for day 2 of our FE Sports Daily Show here in Perth, WA. It was a huge day, another drama-filled day for the second day of TTs, Tommy. Oof, we've got a spicy show.
Oh, mate, we certainly do. I don't think I've seen so much drama for a time trial day in quite a long time, Jethro. Look, lots of news happening in the racing. Lots of news happening in the pit lane.
Mm-hmm.
We keep our ear to the ground, mate. We like to pretend, at least we do anyway. And
There is
a little bit of juicy goss going around, and you'll be able to break that in a second.
That's right. We've got so many lines of communication, and there's a lot being fed to us, and so we've got quite a bit to discuss.
There's a lot being fed, but it takes a while for us to vet it. There's a lot of...
That's true. That's true. You still got to vet a little bit. Before we get stuck into those things, and of course the day's action, we'll recap the highlights of the U23 women, the men's elite, women's elite, and the paras, of course. We must say you got to follow us on all our socials, on Instagram at thepressroompodcast, which there's been a lot over the recent following us there. And of course on the podcast players, Apple, Spotify, hit the bell, make sure you get the daily episodes straight in your feed. And of course, for the YouTube viewers, 4K video, this is in for them. So follow us on YouTube. But Tommy, tell us about the first little bit of news that we had to break today, because there's some rumours going around about a certain former Australian champion.
Yeah, certainly is. Caleb Ewan. He's in the headlines again, and he's decided... Well, this first initially broke because some eagle-eyed Twitter hounds realised that he wasn't on the Jayco Alula website. They'd removed him from sort of their rider page or their roster, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of news that's sort of been simmering away a little bit because, yes, I believe he's got a year to run on his contract with Jayco, but I don't think it's all been smooth sailing so far, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's sort of looking at options and seeing, or at least been looking at options and seeing what's out there in the world. Because we do know that Jayco, they've got a pretty stacked lineup. Dylan Groenewegen, he's in there. Obviously, O'Brien.
It was stated at the start of the year that he was second to Groenewegen's program.
Yes, it was.
And I think Matt White tried to say that he would hope that would spur Ewan on to compete with Groenewegen and vice versa, but he didn't really have the season he wanted after winning the Criterium last year in Ballarat.
Yeah, he started so well, and it seemed like it was going to be such a full of, sort of a homecoming for Ewan, back in the Australian colours, and he sort of didn't really fire at Tour Down Under either, and it kind of, almost set the tone, didn't it?
And what were the actual rumours? The rumour was that I think he was not in the team, so he wasn't on the team website. He's been removed, so of course the rumour started, is he even in the team anymore?
Yes.
And remember, later in the year, keen, watchers of the forums and the like would have noticed that there was some links to him going to Astana. Of course, as Cavendish has left and retired, there's a spot there for a sprinter if they want.
Premier top-tier sprinter, someone who can get it done at the Tour de France. And Ewan, he still can get it done at the Tour de France. Look, we don't want to linger on this because it is a lot of speculation and rumours, but the mail I'm getting is that I would not be surprised if Jayco, who potentially initially thought that Ewan was going to leave earlier on the year, if he does take that step and go.
Okay, well,
so
let's
we'll
watch
see.
this space.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It'll come out very soon because there's racing going to begin very
Where
shortly.
Does it go?
You know what? I mean, Astana is one that we just mentioned, but they've actually filled their roster. And in fact, they dropped a very solid rider out of their lineup down to their development team to bring up a Chinese-backed rider who obviously is the link to their new sponsor, XDR. Is that their sponsor?
Yeah, XDS, which is a major bike brand coming out of China.
So they've
It was a name that I hadn't seen on too many start lists, and he's not necessarily the big name out of China that I would have picked.
He's no Arashiro from Japan, put it that way. I think he's a bit of
a... He's a quality rider still, though.
Could be, okay.
He'll step up and develop. I think that's that plan with him.
Okay, well, let's see. But I reckon keep your eye on Ineos. They've lost Viviani. Viviani's moved on from Ineos, and I think that could be a slot. But anyway, I also have a bit of news as well to follow up from my news yesterday. I teased everyone the South Australian new Pro Velo Super League team that's coming very, very soon to challenge the men's side of the Cachet body wrap team. I had some more info fed to me today from other parties, which I can share because the original person
you vetted this information, so you vetted it with another third party.
They confirmed my original news that I was fed, but I can confirm to you at the moment the Instagram account for the team, everyone, is now live, and it is called Team Brennan PSL
Brennan.
with an underscore. So search that up. It's an orange picture of the jersey. They've got the sort of mock-up of the jersey there. It's orange, the ochre for the South Australian. Now, that's all I'll say. I think that's a placeholder name, by the way. I think they'll change it, but they'll be riding Cervelo bikes, Tom. S5s
that's nice.
with SRAM red. That is what I've been told.
Ooh,
So
very
Cervelo
nice.
getting behind this team. And I can't say who's leading the man behind the team. Of course, there'll be many men and women who will help out, but there's one person who I understand is leading it. One of the most decorated and most respected coaches in Australian cycling is the man. And their main focus, Tom, is just based on their little tag on the actual Instagram account, is they're focusing on bringing up the Australians into that World Tour setup. Now,
So are they replacing Bridgelane, you think? Is this a filler for Bridgelane? Because we know what Bridgelane have been over the years. They've been a great stepping stone
they've just
with a
moved in-
phenomenal European program that would take you to the likes of Tour of Savoie.
everything.
And even Tour de Breton, and they'd get starts there. And then if you had results there, you could get yourself even World Tour.
That hole's there to be filled for sure, and this will be one that will aim to fill it. But yes, they will be linked to a Belgian team.
Okay.
Belgian team, so that the riders can race under this South Australian Pro Velo team. They can race Pro Velo, they can race Asian circuit,
Now-
and then come European time, they have a team that many of their star riders in this team that would be announced, Tommy, will be able to race for that Belgian team with no qualms at all.
I'm no expert, but is this the really weird sounding Belgian team that's littered with just like 20, 30 sponsors that I've seen? It's got, I'll list a couple of riders here. It's got like because it's on PCS.
It's on PCS, mate.
It's got Agneletto on it.
It does.
I believe Jeremy Smith from WA
Jez
is
is
on the
there.
team.
Bledden is in there.
Oliver Bledden,
There's
the Peel boy.
Some very good stuff in
So,
there. So keep your eyes
yes.
out on that. Follow the page, and we won't say anything more because we'll let them have their time to shine. I think it's about 3 weeks away, not 3 days away, because their kit was late, from what I've been told. And
I can relate to that.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of spicy news. Let's get into the action results of today's action for the time trials at the Road Nationals. This is Roadside, presented by Zwift. Women's under 23, Tom. They were
yes.
the first ones off the rank. Well, the paras were actually. We'll touch on them after this. We've got a new champion, Tommy. Ali
do.
Anderson got the chocolates today riding for Sassy.
Yeah, she gets it over Felicity Wilson-Huffington. That is a huge name to surpass in the grand scheme of things. She's obviously Wilson. She rides for Little Trek.
Yep, Little
She's
Trek.
had a year at the World Tour.
Yep. 1.82 seconds, Tom. That was less than 2 seconds in this victory from Ali Anderson down to Felicity Wilson-Huffington.
Which is amazing when you think it's a 40. Ali Anderson laid down a 40.54. So you think 2 seconds across 40 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, 42 k's an hour. They basically both averaged, or 41.9 for Ali and 41.7 for Felicity. 2 seconds separating them, and you could see the videos going around line. Tom, Ali was absolutely stoked. She couldn't believe it, and her reaction was really quite heartwarming to see. So, a really good effort, and she's not just beaten any old riders.
Yeah, not just another under 23 rider, not just like
Oh.
someone who's still rolling around at the domestic level.
But the whole field. We talked about it on the Mega Preview. The under-23 women's field is unbelievably stacked with talent. And we'll go through the top 6 here. Sophia Salmons, our pick from WA.
Yes.
Third place, Tom. And we'll talk more about her in a second. She was in third, 38 seconds back. Just 4 seconds behind her was the youngsters. The youngest one in the field, Talia Appleton, who was my sort of smoky
that was
for
your
this
smoky.
one.
That's a good pick.
So that's a good ride by her. Then you had Kira Will, who's a big star as well, and Mackenzie Coupland as well, riding for Jaco Alula, or Liv Alula development team. That was the top 6. Pretty decent crop in there.
Yeah, huge crop. That is some decent rides by a lot of people there. Ali, like you mentioned, she's an absolute beast. But yeah, she claimed the recent Tour of Bright, which was that a
Yes.
surprise, or was that sort of a bit of a coming of age ride, winning the time trial? It's a hard time
Maybe
trial
a
at
bit
the
of
Tour of Bright.
Yeah, well, the Tour of Bright's the time trial. There's also the crit and the actual mountain race
Yes.
up Tour of Bright. So it's its place on the calendar is good because it's kind of your last look at who's going well in form
Precisely.
before Nationals with a proper stage race, the Tour of Bright. It's
It is.
20 years, I think it's been going, so it's a big race. She won the Tour of Bright, which is really known. It's a well-known testing ground. She was also the scratch race champion only a few weeks ago, so that tells us, Tom,
She can race.
She can race. Let's look out for her in the TT. She might be one of those people to watch against Sally Carter in the Criterium.
Yeah, she's going to be an absolute active rider off the front.
So a big talent as well. She's riding out for Butterfield Zip Track as well, so in the Pro Velo Super League. So a huge talent as well. We know how good Felicity Wilson-Hafford is. But we'll talk about Sophia Salmons because she's got an interesting story, Tom. She's the Oceania Under-23 time trial champion. Last year was her first national TT. Now, she's late to cycling. Around 17, 18 she started. And I was looking forward to seeing her TT last year because she had the talent then. I thought, a top 8, a top 9 maybe is on here. She was nowhere. And she was nowhere because, Tom, when I spoke to Brad Hall, her coach and the Cycling Development Foundation NRS team owner, he said that she's still working on the confidence. This is last year on one, descending at speed in the TT bike.
It is a different
two,
feeling, isn't
just going at speed downhill in general. And we know that old school Fed Uni Ballarat course, there are a lot of downhills, and in particular the real steep downhill before you turn right on the off-camber corner into the uni. It spooked her, and she just was not able to get into her rhythm, so we didn't get to see what she could do. But now today, 38 seconds off the leader, I think she's confirmed that Sophia Salmons, she's got what it takes.
Yeah, it's a massive step forward for Salmons, and really happy to see because you speak of riders doing workload and really applying their trade, and it's hard when they're this age. There's a lot of moving parts around in terms of getting a ride for the year with a team that can provide.
Yep.
And also they will hopefully provide the effort and doing the grunt work and the actual leg work. And Sophie's been doing that. She's probably trained. She
said she's been
out of
living
WA.
on that bike.
Yeah, precisely. So
you can follow her on Instagram as well, Sophia Salmon. She puts her reels together of come watch a day with me riding. She looking at the numbers, she's getting big numbers on there as well. So well done, Sophia. Keep it going. That's also key to getting a contract. Public exposure is a big one, but she's got a lot of talent. She's now riding for Praties, so she's been the new Bridge Lane, the OG, back to square one. Praties. She's riding for them with Pat Shaw, the great man over there. So she's well equipped on the Cervelo, and a good result from her and the top 3 in general.
Excited to see what she can do in a big year, mate. Really excited to see what she can do. But look, that's our WA bloody bias, isn't it, mate? Let's be honest.
It is.
It's a huge ride from everyone on that podium, and looking forward to seeing what they do tomorrow night in the crit.
Once again, a huge under-23 field, so just about the entire top 10. Unbelievable talents, and they will be going places. But Zwift, we've got the Tour de Zwift coming up.
You're
Tommy.
going places, aren't you,
So
mate? You're going
Tour de
places.
Zwift, all right. January 6th to February 23rd. All the new 6 routes will be there for you to ride, do the community rides. There'll be little competitions throughout. You've always got the KOM, QOMs in the courses, Tommy, the sprint jerseys. Big unlocks as well if you do all 6 rides on Zwift. During the Tour de Zwift period, you'll get special exclusive unlocks.
Ooh,
so we love that, and we love Zwift
that.
for their support, just like my shirt here for
Yeah,
those
you've
watching.
got it on. Yeah, do you have a few of those? Because did you wear that yesterday?
I did wear it. I left it in
must
the
be
car.
bloody dirty,
No,
mate.
no.
I was sitting in the car
steam.
all
I had
day.
the steam wand on it. Anyway, we love Zwift, and we've got the Paras coming up. Now, Tommy, one of my favourite things about commentating the Nationals is actually the Paras. When you go to Ballarat and in the last few years, and you see the effort they put in, the training the Paras work on, and their celebrations when they get on the podium, let alone winning, it's really incredible. And watching their setups too. Like, for example, the multi-Paralympian superstar Kaz Cook. Carolyn Cook, her bike is the sort of the trike, the 2 wheels at the back, 1 at the front. And it's an incredible bit of kit. And just watching them, monster this bike, particularly on that Buninyong descent. Like,
Yeah, that'd be
it's
wild.
hectic through the uni. That is a lot of speed. The tandems on that old school Ballarat descent, they would get up to 100 kilometres an hour. And they'd be doing very high speeds today around the Bold Park circuit. So watching the Paras is always really cool. We'll read out some of the winners. There's a lot of categories. We'll just breeze through them here. Carol Cook, she won again the T2 category. Kate Burton won the women's transplant. Cam Marshall, Ballarat legend, won the AII1, that is athletes with intellectual impairment, Category 1, Cam Marshall. Angie Ricciero won the women's version of that, the AWI2. Sam Harding and David Watts were the tandem winners. Now, the stoker is the rider at the front.
The pilot, the driver.
Pilot is the one at the back. So the pilot is the fully able, I suppose you would call them, driving at the back. So well done to Sam Harding, who was the winner there. Darren Hicks, he picked up the C2 win. He is a multiple Paralympian and superstar. Hicksy from Sassy. Kyle Willis won the C3 TT. Hayden Long, West Australian, won the C4. David Bryant from Catalyst Nutrition, another local to Bold Park. He won the C5. And Perry Judd took out the men's transport category.
Yeah, it doesn't end there, though. Charles Bryce, he took out the H1. Yes, exactly, the dulcet tones. Alex Walsh claimed the H3. Richard Williams, the H4.
That's the hand cycles, by the way.
The hand cycle. Yeah. They are unreal. They must just have the gun show.
Grant Allen. Look up Grant Allen on Instagram. His page is an ex-mountain biker, like proper Red Bull style, and he injured himself during those sorts of events, and now he does mountain biking on his... on the hand cycle. He's been a national TT champ many times, like 4 or 5 times. He didn't arrive this year, but watch his page. Unbelievable.
Yeah, mate, geez. How long do you reckon you could last in one of those, just quickly?
Oh, I don't have the pipes for that, mate. Don't have the pipes.
Well, look, anyway, Stuart Jones, he took out the T2. Madeline McNeil and Laura Tomlinson, they were in the tandem. So they smoked out that category. Caitlin Schwarman, C1, unsurprising. Talia Clayton-Goody, she was in the C2. Emma Mickle in the C3. Tara Nayland in the
Dirty
C4.
Warner.
Yes.
Dirty Warney winner, Tara Nayland.
Wow, really?
In November. Yep, she won the elite.
You were there. You had been calling it across
the line. She won by a tyre width.
Was it a throw on the line?
It was a throw on the line.
After how many kilometres is that?
246
And it comes down to a throw on the line.
Yeah, Tara's a beast. And then also the legend Alana Forster. She is a champion, world champion as well, mind you, on the track. And Saint Germain won the H5 category. So well done to all the paras. Tommy, we've got the women's elite and men's elite recap and discussion right after this.
Well, it was the second last race of the day, the second last time trial jet. It was the elite women. I want to say there were no surprises here, but as I was following along, there were some surprises. And there would have been a few punters who would have put down their few pesos. And I reckon they would have been a bit worried, mate, because Amber Pate from Liv Olula Jaco
came out like a rocket.
She came out. She was storming out of the gates. She was ahead of Brodie Chapman, former winner. And she really set the bar for the first couple of laps, and she made Brodie Chapman earn this elite title, her second elite women's time trial champion in the bands. And how important is that for her in a new team? She's riding for UAE Team ADQ this year. What a way to start your year.
Oh, it's great. The people's champ, Brodie. Everyone who knows Brodie, she is just one of the nicest human beings, genuine, absolute legend. Amber Pate came out storming, and you mentioned to me, we're following along the intermediate trackers. Brodie had to ride a 15-second per lap negative split to catch Amber Pate. So very smart way of riding a TT. Negative split, scientifically proven on almost every course to be faster. But she had to claw her way back. And I wonder if she got a time check to Amber in the first couple of laps, because that might have just sent a little bit of a rocket. Oh, I've got to be on to that.
You'd be nervous, wouldn't you?
If you
and
got
I
the
love
time check.
and the individual riders over here. So, like, for the other World Tour riders who do come here, I was unfamiliar with what Brodie Chapman's setup would have been, but I've seen it before where they come and they might not have a race radio.
Yeah.
So they, obviously we know Livalula, Jaco, they have the radios, they're set up in the team car.
Yeah.
Their directors are communicating. For Brodie, it might have literally just been go out and just go full noise and put the time down, because she might not have had that information being fed to her.
Maybe.
Because she might not have had a DS with the setup. It might have just been her partner in the car driving around with the spare.
Oh, Danny, maybe. I mean, to be honest, even the VIS junior, Mr. Gould, the under-19 champion, he had a radio in there. I think these days an under-13 national TT rider to have a radio. But Anya Lowe took home third place and only a minute off Brodie and 30 off Amber Pate. So that confirms that Anya, each year, she's getting stronger and stronger. So really good ride from her. First year in the elite category as well for AG Insurance Sudal. Caitlin Nicholson, my little
Yeah,
my
your
sort of
smoky,
roughie, my smoky
yeah,
look out for.
yeah.
She was sort of best of the rest, about 50 seconds back from Anya Lowe. Then Ella Simpson, who's also riding with Lucy Fitchess and Emily Watts for the St. Michelle Preference Homes team. So good to see the three Aussies. And Emily Watts at the bottom there, 3 minutes back from the leader. The TT was once upon a time a bit of a specialty for Emily, and maybe perhaps she's just got her eyes focused on bigger goals further in the season, perhaps. Because I would have thought she'd be sitting, well, maybe ahead or equal with Caitlin Nicholson.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's a bit of a surprise. Maybe she's just sort of building the Ks at the moment. We do see this with some of the bigger names, that they do decide, oh, look, I'm going to try and target later races in the year, and you know that often comes at the detriment to these earlier races and national champs. But look, nothing beats pitting a number on and having a crack, and that is what she did. So it's only onwards and upwards for her.
Yeah, and also one other thing, that St. Michelle Home Preference Homes is a pro Conti team, so just the level below Women's World Tour. But they get the invites to the Tour de France FEMS,
Big French team.
avec Zwift. So they will be there again this year. They've only got 10 riders, Lucy Fitchess was saying. So 7 go to the Tour de France. And Lucy, as long as she stays upright, she's going. Because she's got the sprint. And Emily Watts, she can be there because she can climb quite well. And she's also got a kick. So she's a useful rider.
You can always bank on like one person being sick, one person being out of form. Your odds are looking pretty bloody good, aren't they, mate?
Let's just hope, because you know what's funny, on the 6th stage of the Tour de France FEMS last year, which was the hometown of I've forgotten her name, rides for FDJ. She won Amstel Gold. How can I forget her name? It doesn't matter. Who did I see?
Tall figure, the tall figure.
She's tall, lean. Anyway, who did I see riding up the second last climb of that stage? We were sitting there on the roadside in a camper van, Tommy. Well, it was Lucy Fitchess, just riding along. So it was funny the way you see everyone. And then I saw Lucy again at the Scorchers game on Boxing Day. So maybe it's a sign. So good luck to the women in that St. Michelle Preference Homes team. Now, one other thing, Tommy, we've got to discuss for Brodie's case, Brodie Chapman, the national champ again, 2 times now. How important is being national champ in the TT, particularly for the Women's World Tour?
It's become a lot more important over the years, hasn't it, mate? Like, we've seen the marketability of being a champion. You get the jersey, for starters. So then you get your new kit. Every time trial you go to, there is just another narrative that teams can market, and they can tell. Because they've got that person in that different kit.
Got a special jersey.
They've got a specialist. They've got a winner in their ranks already. And they come to the race and they go, we've got Brodie Chapman, Australian national time trial champion.
Sounds good for a race. We've got 10 times national champs at our race. The media, if they don't know who the riders are, who are they going to go to? They're going to go to the rider in the national kit because they just assume, okay, they're a very good rider. So it is a big thing, isn't it? And it's also a good. Oh, we've seen actually in the past, there's been riders selected for teams who, let's say they weren't the best rider they could be selected and they were chosen ahead of other riders who were stronger, but they were national champs. And I think that's why a rider like Yuki Arashiro, who rode for Bahrain for like 12 years, he got selected over many other strong riders because he was a massive name in Japan. And he could ride, to be fair. He
was a very talented rider, and he was also, I don't know, I agree with you to a certain point. There's no free gifts in World Tour anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's fast changing. But I think it's just this added bonus that you get when you get this jersey and this title and I have it for a year. And it's just this wonderful thing that becomes part of your character.
Now, it also, we've got to talk about Worlds. It's also automatic selection into Worlds, almost every time. If you're the national champ in the TT, you're near on locked in to go to the World Championships later that year.
Well, we saw that from Australian men's winner last year.
Yep.
And there was obviously Grace Brown. She was our women's champion. And it really did lock them in, didn't it?
Same with the Olympic year. Yeah. So it's really big news, and well done for Brodie, because that going into a new team, new environment is absolutely huge. Men's elite, Tommy. And it was, again, our man, one of the fan favourites and, of course, friend of the podcast, Tommy, OG of the podcast, episode 6 maybe, and we're up to maybe 140. Luke Platt went back-to-back in the men's elite, claiming the jersey again. 8 seconds over Jay Vine, who's back in shape. Kel O'Brien managed to nab 4th place ahead of Chris Harper on 58 seconds and 54 respectively. Then we had Michael Hepburn, always gets a top 5 in an elite TT. Tarly Lane Walsh, very talented young man, and Kane Richards was the top 7. But Blappy, again, he wasn't the favourite. He was the bookie's second favourite, which I was just laughing about. Vine was $1.50. Platt was $2.50 to win as the reigning champion. It just blew my mind.
Yeah, he's going well as any Platt. And I don't know where his form is at the moment. You'll be able to comment on this a little bit better, but he must have just built and built and built. He's still so young that he is just due for a bit of a breakout year. I say that because he's been winning the, he's won.
I think his breakout year was perhaps this year. He was second at UAE Tour. That's a big ride.
That's a massive World Tour ride. But I think we're going to see a lot more consistency at a higher level from him at World Tour races. And this TT, I reckon, just sort of indicates that way, where he's maybe come here and he's on good form, but he might not be flying. So for him to sort of come across and, put down a really good time, and he was moving.
Against a flying Vine, it was a good win, and to be honest, in Plapp's mind, he should have won, and he did, and that's the way you should do it when you're a big champion. And also, he also had a huge year in the Grand Tours as well. He did very well in the Grand Tours and showed he could do it. So good luck to him this year, and good luck to him on Sunday. I like Vine 8 seconds back.
Moving.
That shows he's humming, ready for TDU, because let's not forget, he did win 2 years ago. Yeah,
bloody good to see him at the top, hey. It's bloody good to see him at the top of the results list
after
what a bad year,
He just can't
I don't want to go there.
I don't want to go there,
but I'm very happy to see him back on the start list and back at the top of the results list.
Yep.
Chapeau to you, mate.
Did you see his setup, by the way? Saw Patrick Borro's photos of
mate, I haven't seen anything of it.
I love all the time trial tech. Actually, I don't really love it that much, but there's just something about the Colnago that Jay Vine brings. Every time we're here or in Ballarat, I've looked at it closely. It is the most amazing TT rig you've ever seen. That Colnago, what is it? The Speedmaster, or I don't know what it is.
The Speedmaster.
Oh, it's so nice. So just check it out. It's an absolute ripper. But there was some drama. There was massive drama, and it was one of our own, another sand groper, Durbo, Tommy. What happened to Durbo?
Oh, mate, the bloke that I was pumping his tyres up all week, and he was going so well. He was due for a medal. This has cost him a podium. So and this has received quite a lot of criticism from a lot of punters who were there, on the sidelines. They had this start-finishing chute where you would roll out and then you'd go right, and you had to come in and finish next to the chute. And this is where we saw the crash yesterday of Gould. And there was a bloke, I dare say a volunteer or a marshal. He stands at sort of this split where you either go left to do another lap, or you go right into the finishing chute.
Right.
You're putting a lot of faith into this fella who's got the lollipop there, mate. I'm not laughing because you are. And what's happened? Durbo, he's coming in and he's done on his last lap, and he's just kept going. So he's gone. I believe he's gone past the finish line. He's missed the turn, and he's not alone in doing this as well.
Right.
This happened to a stack of other riders as well.
He's missed the turn on his last lap.
Yeah, this has happened from everyone from the club member to the top level of the sport.
He was on for, I think he was sitting just ahead of Kel. Is that right?
He was
1 or 2 seconds ahead of Kel. So with Harper and
They
Kel.
were sort of seesawing back and forth, and I think he was just going to get ahead of Kel. O'Brien, that is, and Luke Durbridge, he's a multiple national champion on the TT and the road. And for here, this lights the fire for him for the weekend, mate. This stokes the fire a little bit for him personally, I reckon.
I love Durbo.
A little bit of drama.
He's a great guy, but they're not doing 50 laps. I mean, they're only doing like 4 or 5 laps. I really think, the time difference of doing another lap, you look at your time, surely you might just have time and maybe just have power.
He's going full noise. He's absolutely on the rivet.
I don't know. Okay,
and it's coming, and they're coming in.
He wouldn't rely on that lollipop man or woman. There's no way you'd leave it down to a volunteer to count you in.
You're not, but you're just locked in the zone. And how often have we seen riders in the TT pos, Stephen Kung or whatever, and they've had their head down and they've just hit the barriers. And the section coming into, there's a bit more criticism as well. The section coming into this start-finishing chute, particularly the finish, they come off. They've got this, the conditions playing a part. There was a mediocre sea breeze today, about that 18-knot sea breeze. They're coming in this downhill fast section.
Okay.
And I rode it this morning.
Right.
I rode the course.
Okay.
And
PB.
PB. Yeah, I was averaging 45. And this section, you're easily doing. The big boys would have been doing 60 plus.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like you can make a slow decision. You're coming up to this, and if you're not ready for it to be jamming on the brakes, then going right, yeah, you're going to be in trouble, and you're going to bail left.
He must be feeling good because that's another lap to, if you're negative splitting, that's another lap to lift. So he must have had quite a bit left in the tank. So let's hope we see a lot of them leave it all out there on Super Sunday. Now, we had our roadside FE Sports Roadside Champion Award. The first two TT days were decided with the most bogus setup and the most elite setup. And the most elite setup has gone to Zach Marriage. We've confirmed that. He's going to get the wearer tool set, and we'll find him either tomorrow or on Saturday to give to him, or we'll send him out to you over there. And the most bogus setup, we had our candidate yesterday in Max Gould, and we did say in the preview, it was most bogus setup or something snapping on your bike halfway through, or I think crashing 20 metres from the line, losing your radio out of your jersey, then clipping in with 1 foot and pedaling the 62th across the line 20 metres to win by 5 seconds. That's a pretty bogus last 20 metres, so I reckon Gouldy gets it done, as much as I want to give it to Durbo for missing a lap.
You can't give it to Durbo. He
would
have
throw it in the bin.
No, mate.
He would throw it in the bin.
He'd throw it in your face, mate. You wouldn't survive the encounter.
I would not. We love you, Durbo, and hopefully he throws it out there. But those are our champions. So the Roadside FE Sports champions get the wearer tool set. So Gouldy and Marriage will find you over the weekend, give you your prizes. We've got the Pirellis. I think it's Pirellis. No, it's 100%.
Yeah, we got the 100%
crits
for the
tomorrow.
crits.
So remember, it's first finisher, male and female, in the Criteriums under 23s and U19s combined. So the highest finisher who's wearing the 100% will win.
Okay, great call. I'm so keen to see this. And to be honest, mate, I was getting that buzz as well, around a bike race, a big bike race. I just get this buzz, and tomorrow night's just going to be, scintillating.
It's going to be absolutely juicy.
Before we move on, let's put a bit of emphasis on who you're picking.
Okay.
Pick for the elite women and men tomorrow for the crit. I'll let you go first.
Only elite men and women.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, for the women, I still like Alex Manley. I think she's getting the job done. And in the men, it's an easy pick for me. There is no one getting close. No one is getting close to Sam Welsford. There's just nobody on earth that's going near him in that Criterium, in his home. And I can't wait to call it, actually. It's going to be a ripper.
Oh, God, I want to disagree with you for the sake of disagreeing with you, but I just can't, can I?
What about Ruby?
Yeah, I know. I was going to say for the men, but for the women, I think Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
I think she is not a sure thing, but I think she's going to be right. She's a sure thing to be right there in the finale, battling for it, because they have the weaponry in terms of the riders to control or make it aggressive if they want with Jake Olula.
Yep.
But for the men, it is hard to go past the Wombat, the big man, Welsford. Don't get me wrong, I'd love to see, maybe like someone else, even Kell O'Brien step in and have a crack.
Well,
but I think Welsford is going so well.
It's going to be good to see. Very good to see. Now, thanks to FE Sports, of course, and wearer tools, the best tools to use for your bikes or whatever. Just use them around the house. They are elite tools. Check them out on their website. Now, we've got a bit of fun at the end here. Now, I've been screaming for this video, Tom.
The mailbag. We had the mailbag yesterday. Coming. No more mailbag.
The mailbag there's a bit of mailbag, but different. Tommy is he's a crafty operator. And he's got his hands in many pies. And when you get into sort of media and when you're doing podcasts and you're commentating, you're doing all this, you do get lots of opportunities to come at you to make little clips and works for these brands. You've sent us through, and I've shared it on the page. You've got to look at the Press Room Podcast page. Oh, no. I've shared the City of Perth little cachie that Tom has done, celebrating all the great eateries in Northbridge where the crit will be tomorrow or today as you're listening. And to be fair, Tommy, the places that's being picked are elite. You've got Conti Rolls from the Restore, which is an absolute iconic thing. You've got Corica's Bakery with all the nasty little treats in there. You've got
footage of me just honing down on this strudel.
It was a very good footage. You pumped it up. You're eating all the food, the strudel. So I put out the call to see what kind of stuff we could get back and say in response to that. And I had a couple of good ones, actually, from here. So I'll just bring it up. Watch the video.
You can't be slacking my work ethic, mate. Here I am.
No, I appreciate the cash grab.
And when Basil says, Tom, we need you, mate, he rings that bell, I'm coming down.
For under 23s, he's presenting the jersey, so I'll ask him.
Let's get him on the hill. Let's get him on the hill, Baz. Mate, Baz never says no to an opportunity, I'll tell you that much. And we'll get him on the hill.
Okay, we'll get him on the hill. Where do they watch that video, by the way, for context? Because I'll read the responses out
Don't
now.
know.
It's City of Perth. So look out, City of Perth. Go to the reels. What did we get in response? It was very, very funny. We've had one come through, actually. Darren Sonoji says, chewing that baguette like a horse, even left someone has lit for a Ron later on.
Darren, that's absolute crock of shit.
Stitched up. How many scrolls can he tuck in that basket from Homer? Kalana says, where's the sleeveless jersey?
Kalana is on the money.
Out on a black T-shirt. You should have cut the sleeves off, mate, Mr. Northbridge.
Yeah, shout out Kalana. He's bouncing back from a collarbone, the great man. He's back on his bike.
I've called him the big horse as well in the post, Tommy the big horse, but Pumpstagram has said, Tommy is barely a pony, let alone being the big horse. You've been sold out. And Stubbsy says, what is this guy doing? Is he selling Uber Eats? So, mate, you're on the bike,
back in your
riding around Northbridge.
You stay in the mountains, young man.
Get in the comments on City of Perth and comment that to hell, high hell, and also go to the Restore for Conti Roll. It's absolutely elite.
No, it is. It is. And we are not getting paid by the Restore, but we should be. Well,
mate, that would be a sponsor.
I should be anyway, mate.
That
we'll
you should be, mate, because your grill is on the it's on the close-up eating.
I'll find an angle.
Okay, legends, this has been an awesome episode. We've got Friday night, the Criterium's in Northbridge tomorrow. We're going to be recording that right after the presentations are done. So whenever we're finished with Prezzo's handing over the trophies, doing the champagnes and the interviews, we're going to be bang on recording straight away.
What's the form you're going to be in after?
I'll be in some form. I'll be buzzed, that's for sure. So look out for the episode. Thanks for watching, everyone. Make sure you subscribe, and we're looking forward to a big day tomorrow, Tommy.
Oh, yes. Get me on the gas at Northbridge.